All right, this video is going to show you the plastic installation on an SM 701. This bike is a 2019. It is barely used at this point. I'm hoping to start using it more. I basically ride that beast whenever I can, and I recently acquired this one. The stock plastics were okay, but I wanted to upgrade it, and recently found a post in the SM 701 user group Facebook that had somebody like me, a guy who recently got a bike, and his bike had these plastics, which are very cool. However, he did not like them, and I'm not gonna tell you who it is because he wants to remain anonymous. Anyway, at that point, I noticed he was willing to trade, and I thought to myself, well, that seat alone I would like to have. It's just too cool. And I knew I was going to go to something dark, black. So for me, I thought I'd better jump. He was in the ATL, so am I, and we worked out a deal. So anyway, I went to take the plastics off to make the trade, and I hit a couple of snags. Obviously, this video is not going to show you how to take the plastics off. It's going to show you how to put them on. So it's a different take. It's going to be the reverse process. And I'm not going to really spare all the details, or I should say I'm not going to cover all the details. I'm going to really show you as it goes together, focusing on the difficult parts. So the first thing I'm going to put on is the stock brush guards that come on the 701. I'm not going to show you how they go on. You know, they got the cable ties. I'm not a huge fan of how they mount up, and if I was using this off-road, these things would go, but on the street they're okay. After that, I'm going to put on the fork guards. Pretty cut and dry, very easy. Then the fender, and then the headlamp and faceplate will go back on. So the fork guards are on, nothing tricky about this. Got 3 bolts here. We got 3 bolts here, and then the cable securing kind of like guide lock, and that's it. Now we're going to do the fender, which interestingly enough only comes off after you remove the headlamp and faceplate. There's 2 bolts that will be hidden, so yeah, you can remove the 2 that go in from the bottom side of the fender, but these 2 top bolts really are only accessible after you remove the whole fixture up here. So keep that in mind if you want to remove that front fender, the number plate, and really just detaching the headlamp is all you got to do for that exchange. But the headlamp itself and the faceplate are connected with so many little bolts, probably the most, yeah, definitely the most when you take a look at all the other pieces. So I'll show you that closely once I get the fender on. Only 4 bolts to hold the fender on. All right, so this is a T30 socket that you'll need for that. I happen to have this little tool here, which is perfect for it. But the reason why I'm even showing you this is because if you mount these screws first, it's easier. If you mount the bottom screws first, the fender gets positioned in such a way that getting these holes to line up is more difficult. So when putting this back together, mount these first, and then the 2 bolts on the bottom, a lot easier. All right, so the headlight fixture is held onto the faceplate with a series of self-tapping plastic based screws, and you have 2 long ones that will go in here, and then you have 4 short ones which go in here. These little stubs here will fit on top of the fender, and there's little slots in there. And then on the outside, there are 3 bolts that mount to the actual bike. But get these bolts in first, then you'll reconnect your headlamp and then secure the fixture. So I'm down to the last 5 pieces. I've got the radiator guards, which will be the last 2 parts I'll put on. I've got the 2 big side covers and the back fender. I'm going to put on the side covers first. The way they fit is on the side, obviously, and this little part will go right over that, and then if you notice the edge, the fender will slide over the top of that. So we're gonna affix the right side first, and this is one of the parts that tricks a lot of guys, particularly when it comes apart, because if you look, you're gonna notice that there's no bolts on this whole side cover, or I should say bolt holes. We have one right here, and that's it. So there's one hole that will take a bolt. Other than that, you've got this little peg that feeds in here, and you've got this tab which feeds in right there. And that's tricky because the way that tab works is that it will slide in, and then it has a little edge there. It's hard to see, but that little tab on this side here, can't quite handle the camera and everything else, but that tab will go through that hole and then hold it in place, so it kind of snaps in. And to get this piece off, my best advice is that you go from the other side. So you go from the left side with a flathead screwdriver, and you can wedge the screwdriver through here. And then you can get right to it. You can use a little crowbar, assuming it's small enough. But basically you just push the tab to the left and then it will pop right out. Don't force it, otherwise it will snap. Once we get the 2 side pieces on, the gas cap will come off, the fender will slide on, and we'll lock it down. Alright, so the right side cover is on. Again, that is the only bolt that will keep it in place. Up top you got that little stem that snaps into place, the same way the seat snaps into place. You have a plastic tab down here, and then up top you have this bolt, but that won't be secured until you put the fender on. On the right side, we have the same kind of configuration. You've got a stem that goes in here. You've got this that slides over that bolt hole, and then you do have a single bolt that will attach right here. But for the most part, it's pretty cut and dry as far as putting it together. I will line up there. I'm going to go get the bolt Secure that, and then we'll put the fender on. All right, so the side cover, left side covers are fixed. Now we're going to put the fender on. Remove gas cap. And slide your fender on. A little tricky pulling this off when you've got a camera in your hand. That's pretty much it. I'm going to secure these bolts. We got 2 up there, 2 on the bottom side, and we should be just about done. Here's a tip. Before you put these bolts on, put your gas cap back on. A couple of reasons. The big reason is obvious. Very easily you could drop that bolt in there. I'm guessing someone's done that. I did not. But I just realized that that's something that could happen if you're not careful. So when you're putting this back together, make sure the gas cap is on there before you start carrying bolts over the top of that big hole. All right, almost done. We've got the 2 radiator guards left. There's two slots, one here and one here for these 2 holes, and then you've got a bolt that passes through and mounts up there and here. It's pretty straightforward. You just need to get the bolts aligned, the holes aligned, and the bolts mounted. I'm going to get that done. Be back in a minute. All right, side covers are on, radiator guards are on, everything is on except the seat, and that seat is awesome. This whole thing is pretty awesome. I haven't even give you the quick tour or the long tour, but this girl's got the Rottweiler package. It's got the Rottweiler airbox. She's got the Dyno Jet Power Commander 5 in there. And that little sack. This is where you can store all of your booty. Got some bling. Got my little map switch. Different programs. I've got my SC Project pipe, which is sick. I've got to change these. I am not a fan of these stock pegs. I'm more of a dirt guy, so I got to get some spikes in my feet. I think I'm going to change out that battery, go to a something smaller and lighter, some lithium. Got to see what's out there. Got the big skid plate down there, very important. Got to protect that motor. Now I've got some plastics. I'm going to get some bling for this swing arm. I've got the MOTARDYODA hashtag coming. And she's just about ready to hit the streets, baby. I don't know what you guys think about that mirror up there. I've never seen that before. We're going to see how that plays. She's looking pretty bad. I'm liking it. I'm really liking it. Gonna add some more blue. You know, quite frankly, if these letters were all in that blue, it would be pretty awesome. Might have to do that. Maybe something a little smaller. I don't know. But I am liking the blue. I think that might be what we need to do. Overlap these pieces. Nothing but blue. Interesting. Just a thought. Just a thought. Let's go ahead and get this seat on. See how she looks. All right, so there she is. Overall, I'd say pretty impressive. Really love that seat. Just love the texture. Black plastics just make her look like a whole other animal. Only thing I'm going to change is that coloring. I think I'm going to get something that's more like this blue. I think that's what we need. So we're going to go with a black background and then get us some more blue. And she'll be perfect. So there you have it. Hopefully this helps somebody with taking plastics off. I know I did it backwards, but I think that kind of maybe showed you some of the things from the perspective of the other side and gave you a little heads up on what to expect.